This is my personal selection of the top 3 future billionaire HubSpots of Dubai. The starting price was there roughly 55-60 million dirhams to get into the development, and in terms of the residential apartments, everything is completely sold out. This development is extremely exclusive. It is invitation only. We're speaking about 5, 6, 7 bedroom configurations, sky villas, sky palaces per definition, and the extremely limited supply is another important component for the wealth preservation, which is oftentimes the main buying motive for ultra HNIs. Everyone knows Palm Jumeirah, Emerald Sills, Jumeirah Bay Islands. But the true power lies in identifying where the next billionaire hotspots are forming before they reach the pinnacle levels. Bonjour! Hello, welcome back to Deals with Simon, the channel where we are discovering off-plan ultra-luxury developments mainly in the range of 3 to 30 million US dollars here in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. And in this particular episode, we are about to discover the top 3 future billionaire locations of Dubai, because it will give you a very good understanding of what are the newer and emerging key hotspots of Dubai that are forming as the elite circles when it comes to HNIs, ultra HNIs, centimillionaires and even billionaires congregating together and living in pure privacy, peace, and obviously exclusivity. I will even dive into specific segments of these 3 locations and even products to demonstrate you what are my recommendations to acquire these homes for legacy investments, for primary homes or even for secondary homes from different perspectives and angles, and why this will lead to extraordinary investment success as well. Please bear with me till the end and let's dive into all 3 locations step by step, because afterwards you know exactly where to focus on and why it makes so much sense to buy into premium locations, to be surrounded later on by extremely wealthy people at the same time and people who bring in that price stability into an area like this. Let's get into it. Now, before we directly get into the first one of these 3 major hotspots, let me just demonstrate you a couple of main characteristics that these 3 locations have all in common and that were very important for me to give you the fair definition of a future billionaire hotspot. Number 1 is definitely the exclusivity and privacy. This is by far the most important component of a home for these kind of people who are HNIs, ultra HNIs and upwards. They want to have their own privacy. They want to be in an exclusive environment where there are only like-minded people who ideally spend the same amount of money for a property like themselves. So basically this equals exclusivity. Less is more. This is the core mindset behind it. And then trophy asset status. This is quite interesting. When we are acquiring homes, okay, we are always looking at what are the types of homes that are available in these kind of developments, in these kind of locations, and especially if this is a location where there are mainly penthouses, sky villas, sky mansions, or like extremely large scale developments, branded residences. This equals then a trophy asset status of the overall area. For me, this is extremely important for these kind of people. And then obviously architecture and materials, okay, especially if there is a prime architecture behind, like Foster & Partners, or materials, let's say interior design of Gilles Bussier, okay, materials especially like marbles, as be Calcutta, as be Aura marble, as be like onyx, okay, these high-end materials, super important in a location like a billionaire hotspot. Then curated 5-star lifestyle. So basically here I'm speaking about the overall experience that you have once you step out of the door of your own property. What are the fine dining options? What are the restaurants, the cafes? Literally everything that you want to do in a high-end communities, being surrounded with like-minded people. And then obviously the accessibility and connectivity. Super important. You want to be very close to the main highways, to the most important roads that connect you to all the other districts that are important for you to reach, as it be downtown DIFC, as it be the beach, for example, okay? So these 5 characteristics all together, they basically are for me the perfect definition of a future billionaire hotspot. Bear in mind that I try to keep everything short, simple, straight to the point in this video, because I'm about to create separate deep dives and breakdowns for all of these 3 locations in the future, and where I'm showcasing specifically selected products that are a perfect match for the overall environment and identity of the community. Okay, so with that being said, number 1 is the Marassi Bay by Omniat. One of my favorite concepts of the whole off-plan Dubai real estate landscape, honestly, because it combines so many important factors for an HNI, for an ultra HNI, for even a billionaire, when it comes to the lifestyle quality and when it comes to the legacy investment requirements, okay? So we do that by looking into the map of Dubai for a second to understand geographically where we're positioned, and then we're getting back into the iPad, into a couple of notes to understand exactly what are the key characteristics of the location, why it has so much potential, okay? So number 1, what you can see here on the map is the most prime overview of Dubai, my personal consideration. And when we look from the coastline, so here's the coastline obviously, okay? And when we go towards downtown, this is then downtown Dubai, okay? On the right side here, we find DFC. And this stretch here, this big area around the canal is basically a business bay, okay? And especially on the widest body of the canal, especially here, this is the Marassi Bay. In the Marassi Bay, we find Omniad with 4 super prime exclusive buildings, as well as the exclusive islands, which I'm about to showcase and explain in a second. But this is the whole location. So in terms of the infrastructure, it couldn't be better. You see exactly the accessibility with the E44. This is the Algé road that connects you to the south and to the north within a couple of minutes. And once you exit the particular Algé road here, it takes you literally 2 to maximum 5 minutes to be in the Marassi Bay master community. And obviously from here to get into downtown, 5 to 10 minutes max. You can even walk there, and DFC exactly the same. And when it comes to reaching the coastline here, give it maximum 15 minutes, so it's an absolute prime location when it comes to the accessibility. Marassi Bay by Omniad is considered as the destination, and there are justified reasons behind that statement, because ultimately it connects and combines so many different USPs that are important for wealthy people when it comes to having an elevated lifestyle. So let's discover them step by step. Number one, it is literally the only ultra-luxury waterfront district within the Burj Khalifa district, okay? So having the downtown directly connected to it gives it an added value when it comes to like having access to even more restaurants, when it comes to having access to the Dubai Mall, to the Burj Khalifa, for example, to business opportunities, okay? So location plays a huge role here. Then number two, it is a canal front type. When it comes to the waterfront type, we're having a gorgeous marina there with all the beautiful yachts, all the boats, especially in the night. It is absolutely fantastic. And then already mentioned the island, where we find more facilities, we find more restaurants, we find the beach club, which I'm about to speak in a second. And this all together is one curated ecosystem, okay? That's the first point. Then number two, one vision. It's one developer, Omniad, together with the Dorchester Collection as the hospitality brand in order to manage all the residences, especially the hotel, the Lana Hotel, okay? This is what we see here. So basically when it comes to the service, when it comes to the experience and to the design, this is top of the top and basically the highest league. And that leads us to having a complete lifestyle universe. So it's not only the residences there, it's basically the complete mix, the complete experiences. We obviously have the private residences, we have the hotel component there. We do have the ultra luxury commercials, the offices. And then we're having the marina, okay, the promenades, and obviously parks, the beach club, which I already mentioned. All these components all together rounded up as a destination and as an area where you have everything which you need to have the best possible lifestyle. This destination consists only of iconic buildings, and the extremely limited supply is another important component for the wealth preservation, which is oftentimes the main buying motive for ultra HNIs stepping into this type of residences, where we're speaking about 30, 50, 70, 100 million dirhams plus as the overall valuation of such a property in this particular type and range of ultra luxury, okay? So let's discover what we can find in the ensemble of the Marassi Bay destination. We're speaking about the private residence, where we have 0 hotel components, so it's purely residential of Vela and Vela Viento, both Dorchester Collection, okay? Ultra low density when it comes to the actual layouts, the actual ratio. In Vela Viento we find 2 to 3 residences per floor, and in Vela it's either 1 or it's 2. So it's very, very private, okay? Then we find large terraces for outdoor space, if that's important to some of the buyers. Obviously there are very much different types. Then we have the private pools, okay? Obviously the skyline, the views are absolutely spectacular, and then the water views towards the canal. Then number 2, we have the Lana Hotel and residences. So they're basically 2 interconnected buildings. It's the flagship development, the Dorchester flagship development. It was the first hotel of Dorchester here in the Middle East, and Omniad is very proud about that achievement, and this is only the start of a very, very much success in the future. We find the Dior Spa there, okay, the only second Dior Spa in the whole world after Paris. Then we have Michelin star dining, especially with Jara, with Riviera, absolutely fantastic restaurants, and then the rooftop infinity pool upstairs. The views are breathtaking, okay? Another is the grade A++ / ultra luxury commercial office together with the private islands. That leads to a workplace ecosystem which is on a completely different level, and obviously we will find headquarters of multiple companies there. I was told that Binance even acquired an office for themselves there, so you can already imagine the level of companies stepping in there. And then again the islands together with the beach club. We find a sunset park there, arch trail, obviously a padel court outside, very, very beautiful, and padel is becoming the new religion here in Dubai. Literally everyone plays that. And kids zone. So regardless if you are there with your family or as an individual, as a business owner, you have the full experience. It is an address for the global elite, and ultimately it's an ultra HNI community for pure privacy and exclusivity. Real quick before we continue, if you'd like to understand more in depth a direct comparison between an established iconic location and on the other side an emerging future hotspot when it comes to the investment potential, then kindly click the link below this particular video and go through a couple of questions that I put together, which seems more like a custom journey, a quiz, which potentially even opens your mind what's really possible and what's the perfect solution when it comes to the property acquisition here in Dubai or in Abu Dhabi. So kindly take action, click the link below and book your private one-on-one consultation. Let's continue with the future billionaire hotspot number 2, which is the Dubai Water Canal together with the very exclusive peninsula. So again, let me show it to you on the map where we are positioned. The Water Canal is more or less an extension from the Business Bay Canal. So we already were here with the Marassi Bay, okay? And then basically it continues, like it starts actually from the creek, okay? So over here it starts and then it goes into the Business Bay Canal, and the Dubai Water Canal technically starts here right on the other side of Sheikh Zayed Road, okay? So you can see the E11 Sheikh Zayed Road, the main highway of Dubai, very clearly, and then everything from here all the way down to the coastline, inclusive this stretch and this very, very exclusive parcel of land. This is considered as the Water Canal, okay, as well as the peninsula. And now we are discovering the 3 different districts of this overall community, because it is divided into 3 different districts, okay? And then I'm going to show you what are the main developments left and right and what makes this community so exclusive. Again, the Sheikh Zayed Road is exactly over here. Quite an advantage having the Sheikh Zayed Road so close in order to have the best possible accessibility to other locations, okay? To get in and out of the community very fast and very easy. And then we have the 3 different districts, and we start with the first one, which is exactly here. This is the so-called Safa district with the beautiful Safa Park, okay? It's very, very big. One of the biggest parks of Dubai, super green, super nice, and obviously then the stretch of the canal where you find the first residential buildings left and right. The second district is the Jumeirah district, which you can find over here, okay? Definitely an upscale when it comes to the residential buildings there and to all the developments which we find left and right. I'm about to explain that in detail in a second. And this is then absolutely the creme de la creme, the Champions League, which you can find in Dubai's residential real estate at the moment, the peninsula, where you find the highest of residential and hospitality brands which exist in this world. And this is basically the overview of the 3 different districts. Let me just give you a quick overview of some of the most prestigious residential developments left and right of the canal, especially in the Safa district and in the Jumeirah district. And the first one is absolutely stunning and iconic. Murabba Ville is a development which we are about to produce a separate YouTube video where we go in depth, because this picture alone tells it all. It is absolutely non-comparable. It is highly exclusive, highly unique. You understand who's behind that development, not as a developer, but basically the architecture who establishes that and what kind of prices they have won. You will be absolutely stunned. And this is what we are discussing in a separate video. But this is one of the most exclusive residences which you can acquire, especially in the Safa district. Then moving on towards the Jumeirah district, where we find AHS. AHS is a very interesting developer. They literally came out of nowhere a couple of years ago and they're absolutely delivering, okay? They are about to hand over 1 canal. Casa Canal is one of the next ones, and then Casa AHS was recently launched, and I see a huge value in all of these 3 developments. Casa Canal, I was like in touch with a client recently. We spoke about a 4-bedroom sky villa there. When it comes to the layout, when it comes to the interior design by HBA, and when it comes to the dual views towards the park and the canal, these are kind of residences which are exclusive and non-comparable as well. So I see a lot of value in these kind of assets. Then we obviously have the 4 Seasons brand there. We have the 4 Seasons private residences, Dubai Water Canal, and if we look a little bit towards the coastline of Dubai, we find the resort. So we find the Jumeirah, the 4 Seasons resort there, and the private residences very close next to each other. We have Mr. C there, Mr. C private residences. The prices there completely exploded, absolutely sensational what happened there. Then we have Eden House, an established brand by H&H, especially the canal and the park, and then the Rings by PMR. Here we only find a selection of 12 residences, 12 exclusive trophy assets, which are duplexes and triplexes. There's not even a single simplex in there. We're speaking about 5, 6, 7 bedroom configurations, sky villas, sky palaces per definition. So when it comes to space, open plan, exceptional interiors, exceptional views, this is exactly a development to go for. This is what we can find in the first part of the Dubai Water Canal, and now we're looking into the creme de la creme. When it comes to the peninsula by H&H, I need to be extremely careful and cautious of what kind of information I can reveal, because ultimately I'm not allowed to speak about anything, and this is for good reasons, because this development is extremely exclusive. It is invitation only, and ultimately it's only one person behind the developer who is in charge of everything, and I highly admire and respect this gentleman, and that's why I'm only giving out some pieces of a render which is publicly available, which is a little part of the master plan of the concept of the peninsula here in the Dubai Water Canal. So what we can find here are three main names, and I think they stick out immediately. We can find Rosewood, Capella, and Aman. And I will not give you an introduction about these three brands, because everyone who's coming to me from the old money generation, who is wealthy, knows these brands in and out, and they oftentimes know more about the brands than myself. So that's exactly what we can find there. This is the level, this is the quality of the peninsula. Let's discover future billionaire hubspot number 3, which is La Mer South and J1 Beach, a spectacular coastline development, a beachfront icon crafted by Meraz under the umbrella of Dubai Holdings. And as we know, Dubai Holdings is probably the most impactful, the most powerful real estate developer in Dubai, fully government backed. They are behind the Palm Jumeirah, Mas Al Arab, Bulgari Island, and many more destinations on the coastline of Dubai. Very successful, and it all started here with the Marasi Bay, as we already know, and then we continued all the way the canal, okay, Dubai Water Canal. We looked into the peninsula, and then next to the peninsula we find Jumeirah Bay / Bulgari Islands and La Mer South / Port de la Mer. This is exactly what you can see here. This is one of the most prime plots, and it got basically revamped, it got re-established. So there was a completely different concept in the past, and the government decided to actually create a very private beachfront destination for residents. So let me explain what we have here. On the left side we find the very iconic development of Jumeirah Azora Bay, where we only have 29 exclusive residences and 6 ocean mansions. We already made a separate YouTube video about this very unique concept and development. The starting price was there roughly 55-60 million dirhams to get into the development. And in terms of the residential apartments, everything is completely sold out, other than the iconic penthouse, which is a 47,000 square foot, 500 million dirham asset, as well as 6 iconic ocean mansions, where one of them is already sold successfully as well. And then we find here J1 Beach with 13 elite venues. I'm about to explain that in a second. And on the right side here, this is the area where we find Solaya. Again, from Meraz, so we find Azora Bay and Solaya currently as the absolute prime prestigious developments there. And on the right side here, this is Port de la Mer, where we have mainly here in Sur La Mer the villas, okay? And this is the overall concept. Now, the accessibility and the connectivity to downtown and especially to DFC is absolutely great, because DFC is here and it takes you roughly 15 minutes, 15 to 17 minutes, depending on the time of the day, obviously, to reach this destination. So this is the whole concept behind it. It is crafted for CEOs, for managers, for corporates, for people on a very high level who need to get in and out of downtown and DFC very easily and very fast, and this is then obviously the perfect location for it. Let's head back into our notes and let's discover a couple of interesting bullets. So the Jumeirah Road is right in front of your doorstep, which leads us to reaching DFC, downtown, and City Walk all within 15 to 25 minutes. The Bulgari Resort, the Four Seasons, and the Mandarin Oriental are all on the same stretch, reachable within 10-15 minutes. So this makes it extremely attractive when it comes to the location. It is a true beach access plus the ultra prime connectivity, and this is a big USP, because these two aspects in a combination, they are extremely rare, and this is what makes it so fabulous here. Then the second part is the French Riviera inspired lifestyle, where we find 13 elite dining venues. So especially Serene Begaya, I love to hang out there, I love to go there on a weekly basis. There is Baoli, African Queen, Gigi Rigolato, and many more of these kind of destinations. Very interesting, very nice. So the celebrity-driven concept here is exactly what it's all about. This goes like literally 24 hours, okay? This is definitely a magnet for global elites, because it is shaping one of Dubai's most exclusive, high-status beachfront strips, okay? Especially because of the location, because of the idea, the concept, Meraz altogether. This is what makes it so interesting. And last but not least is obviously the master plan factor, okay? The architectural waterfront. So here, I already mentioned it, it's a reimagined and a re-engineered modern elevated coastal district, okay? And we find there again luxury dining, wellness, recreation, sophisticated beachfront lifestyle, everything which you need in one cohesive master plan. And everything was done and crafted by Meraz, which is backed by the government and by many partners. And this is what overall makes La Mer South and J1 Beach so attractive. This is my personal selection of the top 3 future billionaire HubSpots of Dubai. And honestly speaking, each one of these locations / concepts is unique in itself and speaks to a different clientele and to a different avatar. And rather you see yourself in an omniat development like with Vela Viento, or you want to be on the Canal in a very unique and extremely exclusive development like the Rings by PMR, or you see yourself living in a beachfront icon like a Sorbet or like in a penthouse of Solaya. Whatever it is, it's time to take action. It's time to discuss it privately in a one-on-one consultation. Kindly click the link below this particular video and go through some of the questions, the quiz questions, and get yourself into this custom personalized experience that I've created in order for you to open up your mind what's really possible in this segment and what's potentially the perfect individual solution based on your custom requirements. With that being said, kindly click the link below, fill out the form, give me some upfront information, and I'll see you on the other side, and I'll see you in Dubai.